The air at 24,000 feet is so cold it burns your lungs, so thin that every breath feels like drowning. And on this particular day over Germany in 1943, it was about to become a slaughterhouse. Stay with me to the end, and if you want more real World War II stories like this, please like the video, subscribe and support the channel so we can keep bringing you these powerful histories. Staff Sergeant Alan Magee was the ball turret gunner on a B-17 Flying Fortress. If you don't know what a ball turret is, imagine yourself curled in a fetal position inside a plexiglass sphere bolted to the belly of the aircraft. You're suspended in space, thousands of feet above enemy territory, with nothing but a thin sheet of curved glass between you and the void. You can see everything. The ground far below, the enemy fighters coming at you. And you can't move, you can't run. You're locked in that glass coffin with two .50 caliber machine guns as your only defense. The mission was supposed to be routine: bomb the submarine pens at Saint-Nazaire and get home. Except there's no such thing as routine when you're flying into a sky filled with German fighters that want you dead and flak so thick it looks like you could walk on it. The W-190s came out of nowhere. One second the sky was clear, the next it was swarming with enemy aircraft. They came in fast, guns blazing, and they knew exactly where to hit. The B-17 might have been called the Flying Fortress, but every fortress has weak points. And the Germans had been studying them for years, learning exactly where to concentrate fire to rip these bombers apart. Magee was already shooting. The ball turret was rotating, his guns hammering away at the fighters as they screamed past. Tracers lit up the sky. The sound inside that turret was deafening, the whole aircraft shaking with each impact. Then one of the FW-190s got through. Its cannon shells walked right up the fuselage of the B-17, and everything went wrong at once. The aircraft didn't just get damaged, it got catastrophically destroyed. Cannon fire shredded the bomber, severing critical systems, killing crew members instantly. Parts of the plane were literally torn away. And here's what makes this nightmare worse. Magee's ball turret controls were destroyed. He was trapped, locked inside that glass sphere while the aircraft was coming apart around him. Think about that for a second. You're in a confined space you can barely move in. The plane is dying, you need to bail out, and you physically cannot get out. The manual hand crank that would rotate the turret to the exit position is jammed or destroyed. The electrical system is dead. You're sealed in, and the aircraft is going down. But Magee didn't stop shooting. While the plane disintegrated, while his crew members were making the agonizing decision to jump, while every rational thought in his head screamed at him to find a way out, he kept firing at the enemy fighters. Because as long as he was shooting, those fighters were focused on him instead of the other bombers in the formation. As long as his guns were active, he was protecting his fellow airmen. The B-17 went into a death spiral. The forces on that ball turret must have been catastrophic. The G-forces, the violent shaking, the screaming of tortured metal. And Magee was experiencing all of it. Trapped in his glass prison, still trying to man his guns, even as the aircraft fell toward the earth. Then something extraordinary happened. The forces tearing the B-17 apart finally ripped through the turret's mounting bolts. The entire ball turret, with Magee still inside, separated from the aircraft. He was suddenly in free fall, tumbling through the freezing air at terminal velocity, still trapped in what was now a spinning metal coffin. At some point during that fall, whether from the G-forces or pure desperate strength, Magee got out of the turret, but his parachute had been shredded by flak or cannon fire. He had no way to slow his descent. He was falling 24,000 feet with no parachute, fully conscious, watching the ground rush up at him at over 120 miles per hour. The human body is not designed to survive a fall from that height. The impact alone should have killed him instantly. Every bone should have shattered. Every organ should have ruptured. This should have been the end of the story. But Magee crashed through the glass roof of the Saint-Nazaire train station. The glass slowed him just enough, breaking his fall into stages rather than one catastrophic impact. He landed on the station floor, broken beyond recognition. 28 shrapnel wounds, severe internal injuries, broken bones throughout his body, lung damage, kidney damage, His right arm nearly severed, and he was alive. German soldiers found him in the wreckage. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. A man who had just fallen from the sky without a parachute, still breathing. They took him prisoner, and German doctors, the same ones treating their own wounded soldiers, worked desperately to save his life. Even the enemy couldn't let someone with that much will to live just die. Magee spent the rest of the war as a POW. He survived. He made it home. But think about what his mind must have been doing during that fall. Knowing he was going to die, having minutes to think about it as the ground came closer. And yet somewhere in those final moments trapped in that turret, his last conscious choice as a free man was to keep shooting, to keep fighting, to protect the men flying beside him, even when his own death was certain. The official records say he fell 22,000 feet. Some accounts say it was higher. The exact number doesn't really matter. What matters is that when everything went wrong, when he was trapped and doomed and had every reason to give up, he chose to keep fighting, not for himself, for everyone else. That's what they don't tell you about heroes. They're not fearless. They're terrified. But they do it anyway.